Welcome back, everyone. All right, history buffs, pay attention. Even if you're not a serious buff, you should pay attention also. Back in June, I invited my guest, Steve Trimm, to come in to talk about Grant Cottage, which is located just north of Saratoga in Wilton. And it's such a historical place and really represents such a significant time in our country's history that Steve and I just got involved in this big conversation, and I invited him back because this Friday they're doing a big fundraiser, and Steve very graciously accommodated me by wearing a Grant's uniform so he could do a little bit of reenactment as well. So Steve, welcome back.
Thank you.
Really great to have you back again. When we were here the last time, I learned so much about Grant and his impact on our country and those years that he spent, his last years that were spent up in the cottage. And this Friday, you guys have put together a very interesting concept to raise some money for the cottage. Give us the name of this.
We call it General Grant's Grand Ball, and it will be at the Military Museum here in Saratoga, 8 to 10 o'clock. Mm-hmm. Tickets are $50 per person, and I know that sounds like a big hit, mm-hmm. but they are tax deductible, so mm-hmm. bear that in mind.
Got it. In reading through the different things that they're doing there, there'll be 20 Union generals. A lot of people will be dressed in period costumes, correct?
Yes.
There's a group of people in Gettysburg, right? Mm-hmm. And they're coming up,
yes.
as well as reenactors for General Grant and for Carla Barton. That was easy for me to say.
Clara Barton.
Yeah. So I always have trouble with that name.
And Mark Twain.
And Mark Twain, of course. So, and give us an idea of what's going on that night.
Well, it will be a sort of a recreation of a ball from that period. Mm-hmm. This is on the 150th anniversary of Grant's getting his 4th star as a general. Mm-hmm. People coming do not have to get dressed up, but they're going to see dances of the period. They're going to hear music of the period and modern music as well. Mm-hmm. There's items from Grant's history that will be on display. There's a chance to win wine and restaurant tickets. There will be a light fare, they call it, mm-hmm. and cash bar. Mm-hmm. I think it's going to evoke a moment in our history. The Civil War is just over, mm-hmm. and finally the soldiers and their wives can celebrate. Mm-hmm. So it's going to be a very fun and joyous evening.
You know, and there's that other dimension, and I've seen it firsthand. You know, you get around reenactors, and the world changes around you. I don't know if this is the right way to describe this, but it's really true. All of a sudden, you find yourself in that period. These people take this very seriously. And since it's steeped in history, there's a responsibility with that, too, in a way, right?
Absolutely. You want to be as authentic as possible. And it's a little like time travel. The reenactors, the interpreters, for a while, we almost inhabit the bodies of the people we portray.
Yes.
It's very powerful for us, mm-hmm. as well as those we're talking to.
Mm-hmm. Now, I want to cycle back. It's coming up this Friday, 8 to 10 p.m. at the Military Museum, which is right here in downtown Saratoga. Can't miss it. Historic building itself, that building. Mm-hmm. And somebody's really put a lot of thought into this because you'll have a lot of people there dressed in period costumes. There'll be a lot of history present in the different ways that they go about the evening. And as you mentioned, there'll be some of Grant's effects there and some other things, right?
And you can tour the museum while you're there as well.
Wow, this is great. I want to cycle back on the music because the music is Run the River. A very interesting trio. Some classic rock, some country, got a fiddle in there, but they're also making a point of learning music from the period as well. Great.
That's
Boy,
right.
That sounds great. Now, we've got a treat for you. I asked Steve if, in coming for this interview, he might want to highlight something that Grant stands for or stood for that you may know or may not know. And so we're going to take out the program tonight with Steve as Ulysses S. Grant, letting us know something about him. And I'll set this up a little bit toward the end of the program, but what people may know or may not know is that he really might have been our first civil rights president, which I find fascinating. And of course, think of the world we're living in right now, right, Steve?
Yes, and to show you how complex the story is, first civil rights president and technically our last slave-owning president.
Yes, right, of course. Well, Steve, thank you very much for coming in. Like I said, stay tuned because we're going to take the show out with Steve. One more reminder, it's this Friday at the Saratoga Military Museum, which is located right downtown, 8 to 10 p.m. It's like $50, but it's an event very different from most of the other events that we talk about here on Look TV. So Steve, thanks for coming in.
Very welcome.
Very nice to see you. To see this interview again, you can head to our website, looktvonline.com.